is part 4 on mental health, anxiety, and depression. Start where I left off in part 3. Start with the idea of being open or being closed. So if I'm in an open state, I'm more expansive, I'm more invitational. I think my arms are open. Closed is the opposite, I'm contracted. There are actually times where it's okay to be in a contracted state, but the problem that I see a lot of the time is that I feel like people could push themselves and they could, break out of that contracted state, and they could really be more expansive. So I think that's part of it too. So there's more contracted people than more expansive people, but you can increase the level of where you're at. Increase the level, and let's say, scale it out here. So we could have, so 50 would be neutral, which would be rare. 0, let's just say that's like really contracted. So 0 is contracted for 0, and 100 is expansive. And most people, I feel like a lot of the time, are between maybe 40 to 60. It's in the neutral range. And then I think we have to be even careful when we go beyond the safe range, because ultimately we do want to be in that full state, and we don't really want to be contracted if we can help it. So there are times where contracted state is okay, but being expansive, if we can, because people, I feel like they're in this range down here in a contracted state, and we want to get out of that. We want to like mirror. We want to be this mirror image of that contracted state, somewhere up here, or even just working on the steps. So those things that can affect our well-being could be diet, could be relationships, sleep, and all these things will play a role on how we feel. So if we eat cleaner, we will feel better. But if we eat, we make poor food choices, no vitamins and minerals, we're not going to feel so well. I don't think so. So that's why diet is important. What relationships do we have? Maybe you've got in a new relationship with a new girlfriend or new boyfriend, or you've gotten out of a relationship. So there's always a element of change with relationships, or maybe you're even in the job of maintaining. That's a really difficult one in today's world, maintaining. And that could be more than a husband and wife. That could be maintaining friendship, that could be maintaining relationship with your mom, your dad, your brother, whatever, whoever you're close to. Sleep, you got to be well rested to think properly. I don't know, in today's world we have plenty of energy drinks, plenty of prescription drugs, whatever, to keep us awake, but we Really, really got to get that sleep in today's world, and that can really help us think properly. So if we think properly, then our mental health is better already. Check.
Okay.
Check the timer. Okay, so far so good. And there are other things that can affect how we feel. It could be money. You ask yourself, how can I survive? Stuff like that. And that's a really big one for relationships and anxiety and depression is money. It's part of the world, good and bad, pros and cons. You gotta have some type of commodity, so it's part of survival. And then also, how can I help others? And that can come back to money. They can help you, you can help them, and so on. Okay, you have to maintain your relationships, socioeconomic, so there's a correlation between being poor and depression a lot of the time, but I don't think money will buy happiness. It will buy nice things, of course. It will help you. And no matter where we are, it feels like we always want more, whether we have, $100 today or $1,000 next week or whatever, it's that desire. You have to become aware of that as well. So we discussed the different techniques, what we can do, and how to overcome, and have to start to talk about it, open up, be in that expansive state, and open. That could be self-realization. Means you're understanding something about yourself and what you're working on, what you're a part of. Self-realization. And it's really important to understand a relationship between being open, being closed. And I think it's important too to realize that you're not always going to be in an open state, or you're not always going to be in a closed state. And once again, that's how you deal with the specific state or being that you are a part of and working on. So it's taking care of our mind, what we think, how we feel, and it's also a combination of spiritual, mental, and physical health. Even if you don't have a strong spiritual belief, you could create a strong connection between your mind and your body, if you wanted to call it that. So all these things will play a role in our mental health, and they are also related to one another. So we want to take care of our mind, body, and soul. If you believe the soul, or once again, the relationship between the mind and the body. You could call it your connection with the world, if you want to call it that. So your connection could be, it's your point, wherever the point you are at in your existence. So it's a point of existence. And all these will play a role in how you are feeling